there's been a bit more new info about the Blood of Dawnwalker. Let's take a look.
So the game takes place 2 years after the events shown in the intro, and this is just the beginning of a greater saga we were planning. So we get to meet the character at the beginning of his adventure, which I think is really cool. And Cohen in general is so much fun to write and flesh out because he's not your typical game protagonist. He's not a grizzled veteran who's seen it all, who is
Not like Geralt.
cynical about the world, who comments the world with like one-liners.
Geralt, yeah.
He's a young guy who, at heart, is emotional. He can get vulnerable. He's honest about how he feels.
What I love in Cohen is that he'll be never a superhero.
I'm sorry. This looks like, this is a fun thing. It looks visually good when they're talking to each other. And then, but like, none of the conversations about with people ever like end up like this. The person's like, okay, this one guy's talking, this guy's chilling. And then like, after a second, they're like, oh, okay.
Honest about how he feels.
My turn.
What I love in Cohen
That's
is that he'll be never a superhero.
Sorry,
He'll be
it's just
never overpowered.
Kind of funny
At the
thing.
day, as a human, he can fight with a sword. He can use and discover dark magic, but he can be killed by anyone.
So I assume that during the day, you do like humans actually come out. You can interact with humans mostly, right? And then by the night they just go home, and you can't really do anything because it's kind of dangerous outside. No, like a day-night cycle like that, or is that not a thing? I kind of wonder.
At the night, he encountered a lot more difficult enemies. He can use some vampiric abilities, not only in combat, but also he can use it to explore the world and to see the world in totality.
Can you make a kite out of your like blood magic so you can kind of like glide around things, or you have like wings, or how does that work?
Different way.
Yeah, and he'll need all these cool superpowers because he's facing formidable enemies. This clique of vampires who decided to take over the world, turn it upside down, and set the rules. And they are led by this super old and immensely powerful vampire called Brensis. Our game is set in 14th century Europe, and it's a world in deep crisis. First, the continent has been ravaged by the plague, then wars, and now famine. And
yeah, Middle Ages were kind of a crazy time to be spawned in, It's kind of, I'm so glad that all of us get to live in such a good times where we have relatively good, access to food, water, not many wars, not many like infections and diseases. But I mean, we're not going to talk too much about what happened in like 2020 and stuff, but still overall the quality of life is better, and hygiene and everything else is just really good. So I'm very thankful to be born in like nowadays, I guess. Good times.
Vampires have been watching from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And finally, when humanity is at its lowest, they come out of the shadows, they overthrow the feudal lords, and they move into their castles.
Was that an actual sound of the door opening, or did they add it post edit?
Vampires ruling the world is not necessarily the bad thing. Feudal lords in that time killed the whole villages to prevent, the plague.
I mean, to be fair, right? Based on the trailer as well that we've seen before, the soldiers, they're dicks, but they're doing what they need to do to prevent the plague. If plague carriers are still alive, they interact with other people, they infect more people, and those people die too. What do you mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Am I a cynic here or something? Is that not a thing? It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. It is what it is. You kind of have to kill the host to kill the disease. It's like it's a black plague. It's like, I'm sorry. More people will die if you don't do this. No? They're dicks for sure. Like the soldiers especially, right? They were like doing it as, or making fun of people and stuff for doing it, but like for having plague or whatever. But overall, they're still doing something that's, not entirely wrong.
And the vampires, they defend Cohen and his sister. They even healed Lunka. And, I know that people need to pay taxes in blood, but it's not a huge cost of saving.
Oh! So they pay their taxes in blood? Like, they let their blood drip in, let's say, bucket, and then they just bring it to vampires? Interesting.
Well, to that I'd say that vampires' favors are uncertain. And sure, they protect the people of the valley where the game takes place, but they see them as cattle, so they protect them to then lead them and ultimately kill them. And the blood tax you mentioned, it's taken from everyone, the frail, the weak, the old. Each week they have to convene at the church for a blood mass, So for some people, that's deeply traumatizing, or
I
might
mean,
even end up in them.
yeah, but is it better for like monsters or something else to invade us, or more things to bad things to happen? No. Yeah, it's shit, but you know you kind of have to do it. At least you don't pay in gold or something. I don't know.
Dying. So in the end, I'd say the balance is more or less equal, and that's something that I actually really like about our setting, this world. That
I
nothing.
mean, yeah, nothing is simple here, and nothing is like truly evil or good. So that's the thing I really liked about the trailer. I kind of forgot about to talk about that at all. In my trailer review, but I'm glad to talk about it here.
Simple. Nothing is just black or just white. And you have to decide for yourself, like, what do I think is the right choice? What is the path I want to take? And what is the path I want to avoid?
Really appreciate if there would be like, or looking forward. Yeah, I'm really bad at pausing frames. Really looking forward to like kind of in Witcher 3, you have options to handle quests differently depending on how you feel. You can do a peaceful approach, you can do another approach, you can go a completely different way, or you can just kill everyone, you know, kind of like that. It's really cool.
And ultimately, Cohen's family ends up in the dungeons of the Vampire Lord.
Okay.
And even as Cohen is trying to free them, he will meet people who still support the regime.
It's even more challenging for players because Cohen has only 30 days and 30 nights to save his family.
Wait, why? Why only 30?
Sandbox means gameplay freedom. In our, it means narrative freedom. We don't think about the quest like the main quest or the side quest. We just have quests. Players will craft their experience through the game by themselves, and nobody will have the same, you know. And we call it a narrative sandbox.
Yeah, and that's something that really excites me, because that means that no two playthroughs will be
Background
identical.
looks really cool.
That each player will have a unique experience, and that's.
I wonder if that'll succeed though. I think there still should be like a main plotline that you know, should probably do. Because maybe like, you know, by the end of 30 days and nights, if you don't do anything at all, then your family just dies and that's it. You just call it GG's. You lose your mind or whatever else. Or you become a vampire. You commit to this regime. And then if you actually go to the quest line, like how would you know which quest line to take to actually progress, right? Well, let's see. I'm looking forward. I'm optimistic. Hopefully, it's gonna be good. We'll we only have, you know, one way to find out.
That's the true magic of video games, and that's why I love making them.
Man, look at this place. That would be perfect for the writing team.
Not just for them. I love
Looks
storytelling
amazing.
myself. Since I can remember telling
Bartolome
stories through
Gavel.
images is what
Yeah,
love
so I
to
think
do.
these guys, Adam Payet and Bartolome Gavel, sorry, I might be butchering their names, art director and environmental artist, all of them came from the Witcher 3 devs. Like all of those people that are currently in the video.
So when I received the first script for the Dawnwalker, I fell in love with it right away.
I think for me, what got me was the concept art when I first saw those Carpathian villages hugging the mountain slopes, the valleys, forests, and then also the muddy streets of Svartrau and the long shadow of the cathedral. It all felt very authentic, muddy, and also very familiar, homely, and, well, Eastern European.
Not just Eastern Europe.
No, yeah.
It's a mix of predominantly Romanian motifs with broader influences of Balkan cultures.
Yeah,
It
Balkan
gave us
cultures.
freedom of creation. It's a vast range of inspiration from Polish log houses to Ukrainian or Balkan clothing to Romanian defensive churches.
That variety in
Yeah,
that
they can
broad spectrum
combine
was
things.
also interesting to get.
Yeah, whatever looks good, you can basically put it in. You're not really bound by like having to put everything into historical concept, etc.
Because
So it's
I
really
never
nice.
thought as an environment artist I would have to learn in Romanian how to Google specific museums just to get the references.
On the other hand, we also set a boundary for ourselves, and that boundary is a time period of inspiration ranging from the 13th to 15th century.
Yeah, basically whatever looks cool,
And
you
this
put
is
in there,
meant
right?
to ensure the visual consistency of the world.
Yeah, and that is also quite a challenge to make sure that what you create is authentic, grounded, and has a real sense of place, but at the same time isn't just a picture and invites exploration and promotes that gameplay.
I wanted to see how far we could push realism so that players truly feel part of the narrative.
I'm gonna be pausing right here. I'm sorry. This is just a random thing. If any of you have this wall of books, or any of your friends, family, etc., are all these books read, or are they there for like decorations? Because it would take so long to read all of them, no? Maybe maybe I'm wrong. I just don't really read books. I just listen to audiobooks, but it's kind of crazy. So many books, right?
This is
Maybe
not
decoration.
a simulation of medieval life.
Not at all.
Okay, it is not Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yes, yes. We're not actually.
Realism can
doing
be
that.
boring, and we wanted to create something exciting. And that's where the magic comes in.
Yes, the magic.
Our magic isn't filled with fireballs or flashy lights.
Yeah,
blood magic, right?
It's probably even more interesting to get right than the realism part of it, because when a quest brief comes through and the magic is manifest by, I don't know, birds flying in the sky in a strange formation, or the northern lights not being in the north,
That's cool.
it really makes you rethink the whole location and how it should come together to marry those two aspects.
Our magic is also serious, and it's closer to paranormal phenomena than to traditional spellcasting. It's like the X-Files set in the Middle Ages, all deeply rooted in the history of the Dawnwalker world.
Yeah, and I think it's the weather and the lighting system that do majority of the heavy lifting to take a location and really push it one notch above realism to give it a slightly off feeling. I think my favorite location for that is the cathedral. During the daytime, it's that monument to
Yeah, it looks
Gothic
very nice.
architecture with people bustling around.
Kind of like reminds
And
me
then
of
as soon as the sun
the one
starts
in
setting
Paris.
in and the streets clear, the fog starts setting in, and it becomes a completely transformed, different area, very spooky, almost liminal cemetery-like space.
Yeah, so I think
What's
that might be
also
right? Like my guess. So like there's night phase, and then there's basically a day phase. Night phase, there's not many people outside. No one's outside. It's kind of like spooky dark. And during the day, it's a little bit more lively, a little bit more happy, you could say. But there's still like shit going on in both sides.
Early and conscious choice on our part. We wanted the world to be a different place after the sun sets.
How would it work though? Would it be like, let's say,
Right.
3 in-game hours or 4 in-game hours? Oh, sorry, 4 IRL hours are daytime, then 4 IRL hours are nighttime, or can you sleep and stuff? That'd be kind of interesting.
So, hold on. Environment art is something I understand, right? I do it every day. I understand the creative process behind it, but I've never touched anything to do with character art, which is your speciality. So, would you mind walking me through what was your creative process in coming up with that whole thing?
Sure. So we approach the work on vampires very seriously. It's a whole new universe. What's even better is that it's a mix of familiar elements with a fresh twist. We all know that vampires are well defined in pop culture and have been around for a long time. So we wanted to create something fresh. So what primarily sets them apart is their teeth. Our vampire teeth keep growing throughout their lives. The older the vampire, the more teeth they have. So instead of 2 sharp teeth, they have a series of needle-like fangs, densely growing.
This kind of reminds me of Until Dawn animation, but okay. I see. So, yeah, the longer, because he's old, he has more of those.
From their jaws, often emerging from different parts of their skull as they age. The teeth keep growing because the vampire can use them to create another vampire. And the mechanism is very simple. The vampire pulls out his fang and drives it into the heart of its victim.
Pulls out his fang. So he like, sorry, of course you can see it, but like he pulls out one of his teeth, like basically he becomes a dentist, takes out one of his teeth and stabs heart of the victim.
So what's interesting is that our vampire's teeth aren't visible at first. They can
Wait, what do you mean?
extend as the mouth opens, and it looks really creepy.
Yeah, I still remember the first time that the animations came through from the character art team, showing the mouth opening and the teeth growing, and it was absolutely disgusting. I loved every bit of it.
Cute. Yeah, really cool idea.
So Cohen's Algeria, the silver poisoning he got when he was working in the
Matusz
mine.
Tomaszkiewicz, creative director, and we got Ariana Siarkiewicz, writer. Yes, right here. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying, I believe in some comments they said that he was working in silver mines. So he basically he cannot transform into full vampire because of the silver, but he can also walk during the day as well because regular vampires can't.
So Cohen's Algeria, the silver poisoning he got when he was working in the mines, is both a blessing and a curse. Because
Just
on
like
one
Wolverine.
hand, it weakens him. On the other hand, it protects him from becoming a vampire fully. So, you know, he gets to traverse both worlds, both the world of humanity and the world of the creatures of the night.
Yeah, well, he was kind of used to dealing with the vampires since it's been like a couple years since Francis took over. Now he has to find a way to deal with things like undead lurking in ancient tombs that should have remained closed. Kobolds that used to only prey on miners going way too deep into the mines, or even Uriashes, who used to live high up in the mountains, secluded, and now they are in Francis's troops.
Yeah, that looks
and
really cool.
they are vastly different.
Oh yeah, they all have their own separate cultures, and well, if you want to deal with them, I would kind of like to you should get to know them a bit, or else you might get tricked, because they all have their own goals, aspirations, now that they came out of the shadows in Francis's wake.
It's a source of a lot of tension, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of tension. Some of them can cooperate with humans, but mostly it's just new issues, new problems nobody had to deal with before.
But I think this is great because all of that tension, all of these problems are great storytelling material for us, for building all of that content.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of quests you can do.
Francis, he had to normalize this thing for the humanity, convince everyone this is the new normal.
Yeah.
And the way he did this was, first of all, you know, there was a lot of social turmoil. And on the other hand, a lot of deeply held religious beliefs. And he twisted them. He turned himself into this messianic figure. So, for example, he introduced these blood masses where he feeds a human vampire blood, right? And at the same time,
What is it?
feeds
He feeds humans with vampire blood. Wait, I think he feeds vampires with human blood. I think it's reversed, right?
a human vampire
So they all come in, and then they probably put their blood into this coffin or whatever, and then vampires would drink it or use it to
blood,
drink.
right? And at the same time, they have these other things like punishing criminals with like draining them dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, well, you know, some people actually liked it.
I wish someone would drain me
because
dry.
when Francis came in, he
Sorry.
set up a new order of things. He finally got down to business, and then he locked the valley off so that nobody can touch it. No outside outside influence can touch it. And well, some others did not like it so much, and they began to reach into the depths of.
So it seems like the first game, I assume they said it's going to be a series of games. First one's going to be in that area of the Carpathian Mountains, right? Like Eastern Europe, Poland, Ukraine, etc.
Gotten magic, occult, stuff like that.
Nice. That's cool.
So either way you look at it, the Veil Sangora will never be the same again.
Not a chance. Well, that is a lot.
I'll be scared to walk with this stick right here with this torch because it drips, like, you know, some fires can come out or something like that. I guess she's holding it correctly, but like I would be afraid if I hold it like a little bit higher, it will drip onto my hand and I'll get a burn.
World building, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many things we need to remember to make this into a cohesive whole. And at the same time, you have the challenges posed by the open world itself. Because, you know, there's a risk of the content being formulaic or repetitive. We handcraft all of it, and we focus on telling these unique themes we really care about.
Oh yeah, we want to talk about loss, about the meaning of family, about opposing tyranny, about trying to coexist with creatures you've never had to coexist with before.
Well, but that would be difficult to do with just Coin and Francis, right?
Impossible, actually. We had to create a whole host of characters, and we really wanted to avoid having cardboard cutouts, like without motivations, without backgrounds, goals, and ambitions. But you know, when you meet those
it would be really
characters,
nice if they're
your
deeper
goals and
characters.
ambitions may overlap, and you befriend them, or it may be the opposite, and you go on a warpath with them. But you know, given the goal that you have ahead of you, it might be good to have some friends to go along with.
Well, but you could go on your own, right? If you wanted.
Well, yeah, you could just grab a sword and go storm the castle.
Yeah.
But, you know, it might be wise to, for instance, find the rebel cell and try to dismantle Francis's rule with them. Or, I don't know, listen to what an agent from outside of Veil Sangora has to say.
Which is exactly why I love how we structured the game, because we offer a lot of choice in which characters do you want to interact with, which you might want to skip altogether. And also on top of that, you have this layer of non-linearities where you can decide their fates, but also the fate of Cohen and his family.
Yeah, and I really like that because it gives us so much replayability. You can always choose a different path. There's something else waiting there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And also, on top of that, you you know, get to find all these secrets of Veil Sangora and fill all the blanks and, you know, explore the world.
And yet another path might be lurking within that.
Handcrafted content
Exciting,
is
exciting.
all good and well, but on top of that, we also have a number of really cool gameplay systems that further feed into the narrative.
Yeah.
Can you give
And
a bit more
speaking of
details? Let's see.
feeding, my favorite one is the blood hunger. It lets me play a real vampire. I don't just have to drink blood to use my cool abilities in combat, but if I talk to someone without feeding first, I might just lose control and I might eat them. And it's not
Interesting.
going to be just any random peasant that I won't care about. I can eat my best friend. And I will break my heart, and I will break my quests.
Yeah, so you better keep him
Interesting.
well fed.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a fave?
Yeah, I really enjoy the ones that are revolving around.
So, okay, so I don't know how that would work, but I guess, yeah, there'll be like a gauge of how hungry you are, and you kind of have to eat. Otherwise, if you speak with people, you'll be kind of like, we would not be able to resist eating them. Interesting. I just wonder how it will change the quest and stuff. Like if you eat one of the main character, or like, you know, the quest givers, etc. If they're like a main quest giver or they're related to the story will just go on without them, or what?
Francis, because like it makes him this active antagonist. You know, this means that he will basically react to what Cohen is doing. He will pass these edicts that will hinder your path. So, for example, he might set up military checkpoints that will be on your way.
That changes the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, it's not just him running the show. It's also his 3 powerful vampire
The woman,
allies.
the Mongol guy,
when I saw them
and
in
someone else?
CGI, that was such a hype moment. Finally,
guy with the sword, right?
animated, voiced, and just loved it.
Yeah, and on top of being cool characters, they also have their own like spheres of influence, and you get to dismantle their organization step by step.
Okay, I
making
do
it
like those
simpler
games.
for you to confront Brancis and free your family.
Well, when it comes to freeing your family, there is one more antagonist. That is time itself. Because every time you do something important in the game, when you complete an objective or you complete a quest, time moves forward.
Yeah, but what I really like about this also is it's not like real time. You actually get to control how much of this resource you want to spend.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, you have to manage it wisely.
So what I would do is just begin the game, do everything that's not like, you know, do first couple of quests, and then just run around and not complete any quests, but do everything else I can, and then complete a quest, you know, see if I level up or whatever, and then keep like, you know, time from running out.
If
I
you
guess.
just want to enjoy the view or just take a stroll, you can without stress. But once you get down to business, you have to do it smart.
Yeah, so I think all of these things combined, handmade quests and the gameplay systems, create for this really fun, unique experience.
Yeah, and you know what? I cannot wait to see what shenanigans players will get up to playing with those systems. I will be there watching it.
Same.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So that was the developers talking a little bit more about the game. Looks very, very cool. Should be fun. Looking forward to seeing the gameplay reveal and everything else. So far, so good, I would say. Really, really cute. Really excited about it. To be fair. So yeah, see how it's gonna go. This is made by Enfant Terrible. I'm not sure if they're the actual people that are associated with the game. In terms of what's it called? In terms of them being related to the developers and releasing it there, but nevertheless, thank you so much. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys like it? Would you like any of the systems? What are you guys gonna do about it? All right, sounds good. Hope to see you later, guys. All right, catch you later. Bye.